Sorry, we're closed.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back. Episode 61 of Sorry We're Closed. I am your host, Mr. Patrick James Light. And listen, we got a few things to hit today before I send you on your way to your wonderful, hopefully wonderful weekend. The first thing I want to talk about is the Super Bowl. Tom Brady putting on an absolute clinic in this game. I mean, I know there's some talk about the refs giving a lot more calls seemingly towards Tampa Bay than they did the Chiefs. Tyrann Mathieu and Tom Brady getting into it. But that guy just finds ways to win ball games. You know, it's not always the most talented player. I forget who said the quote now, that maybe it was Brett Favre, said something to the effect of, Tom Brady's not the most talented player we've ever seen, but he just has that it factor. And in that it factor, like by far, he's never not had it. He's now 43 years old. He's been in the league 20 years. He's been to the Super Bowl 10 times, won them 7 times. It's just insane what this man has been able to do. We are all honestly extremely blessed to have seen what we've been watching for the last 2 decades out of Tom Brady. It was really, really special to watch, and he's going to come back next year. It's hard to not pick them as the favorites. They're just that good of a team, and he has a very talented team around him. But like I told you guys always, I'm not sure many people were picking Tampa Bay this past Sunday. But like I said in my podcast, episode 50 or 60, I said, do not bet against Tom Brady. It is one thing I've learned over the course of his 2-decade career is you do not bet against him. And he has come through seemingly every time. The guy is just tremendous. I'm happy to be watching him. But with that and what that means, now that I have talked about the ending of the Super Bowl, it is baseball season. And I don't know if I've ever been this excited for a baseball season in my life, solely because it's just been such a tumultuous 2020, a tough start to 2021. It looks like we got spring training on time. It looks like the season's going to start on time. Seemingly no universal DH, which I'm sure the players are going to use that as a bargaining chip in the collective bargaining agreement coming up next offseason. But it's just so happy that baseball season is here. It's spring training is under a week away from some of the pitchers and catchers reporting, and it's like a breath of fresh air. I think we've all needed it, and it's something that I think everyone can collectively say, because a lot of people believe that in the summer we're going to be in a much better position for this COVID and this vaccine world, everything that's going on. It seems as though we're going to be in a better position this summer and hopefully have some sense of normalcy moving forward, and hopefully never slowing down after that. And the big story big story in my life as far as a Red Sox fan is the Red Sox signing this Japanese pitcher. I'm not going to try to pronounce his first name. Maybe I will. Hirokazu Sawamura. I have no clue if that's the correct pronunciation. I've made no effort into trying to find that out. But the guy throws upper 90s with a split. And that's a lot of Japanese players do that. Not necessarily throw upper 90s, but it seems like the splitter's always in the mix for those guys. That was my arsenal when I was pitching. I was an upper 90s guy with a splitter, and it is just, if you can master it, which seemingly a lot of these Japanese pitchers that come over seemingly have mastered it, where you just throw the ball. They are able to throw a high fastball. I was never a good high fastball guy, but they're able to just throw that fastball at the top of the zone and then throw the splitter at the same spot. And it's like, you ever see those overlays that the pitching ninja does on Twitter, where you see 2 baseballs coming out the exact same spot, and one goes one way, one stays true. And it's seemingly that these guys are able to do that and master that before they come over to the States. And the big thing out of this, though, is this is a back end of the bullpen. I haven't seen the details on his contract, but I'm sure they weren't cheap. We got a back end of the bullpen guy. This doesn't scream like the Sox not trying to win in 2021. Now, they said they were going to try to put a competitive team on the field. I still don't believe that they're anywhere near the caliber of the Dodgers or the Padres, or even really the Yankees in our own division. But although the Yankees tend to have injuries that bring them down to other teams' levels, but this is indicative of a team that's going to try to compete in 2021 somewhat, like I've said in the past. but try to compete heavily in 2022. You don't go out and sign this guy. I'm sure they had a part of their sales pitch that we're not in a traditional rebuild, which is going to take 3-4 years before we're really competitive again. I think it's exciting and something that I think is, again, another almost same type of thing, a breath of fresh air to Red Sox fans, because it looks like we're trying to assemble some sort of a team here and be competitive sooner rather than later. And I know we've talked about it in the past as far as you got Chris Sale coming back middle of the year, hopefully. We don't have that bad of a rotation with Valdi and Eddie Rodriguez and a few other guys in there. We're not that bad. And the lineup scored the most runs in baseball last year. So we got a good lineup. I just think that this type of signing just makes me believe that we are more in the hunt than maybe we originally anticipated going into the year. And I talked on WEEI a couple weeks ago now with Steve Peralt. And when I was talking with Steve had mentioned this, and this is why it's interesting, is that Steve mentioned that he was tired of hearing people talk about the Red Sox in a negative fashion going into 2021 because he feels like we have a lot of talent. I agree with him. I don't think we have the talent to compete for the AL East or even for the World Series, but we have a sneaky good team. We have like a great lineup. We have a decent pitching staff. We're now reinforcing our bullpen with 2 adds. It's a sneaky good team. I wouldn't sleep on the Red Sox. And baseball is that kind of sport where you get the right team, that's hot at the right time. And next thing you know, it's a team that's competing that you didn't really anticipate competing that year, or for example, being at the August trade deadline and being a buyer rather than a seller, or a team that stays put. That Red Sox team is kind of in that mix right now where they could go out and surprise some people this year in 2021. And it gives me a little bit more, instead of me having to root for the Mets this year as a de facto Mets fan, it gives me a little bit more, solid ground to stand on when talking about the Red Sox and talking about their plans moving forward. It's a good spot to be in. I'm looking forward to this year now much more, and I'm looking forward to seeing this Red Sox team and see what they can build for the next coming years with Alex Cora at the helm. I think it's going to be a fun couple of years. And Bloom is he surprised me with this sign. I know we have a history in Boston with signing Japanese pitchers. That'd be Daisuke Koji, but this is a good sign for us. Again, fortifying the back end of our bullpen, making it legit with Matt Barnes now seemingly probably going to be a 7th inning guy who's a good pitcher. Some guys in the middle relieving that probably still need to figure some things out, with some decent starting pitching that we already have and a phenomenal lineup. You're going to be able to compete on most days, and that's good to see from Boston. The other thing coming out of the baseball world is that they have now allowed. They're going to give some type of iPads in the dugout that allow guys to analyze at bats without seeing what pitches or the pitch calling from the catcher. You won't be able to see their signs. And I think, from what I understand on Twitter, seemingly they're going to blur out the catcher's signs. I guess they're probably, I guess a different angle wouldn't do all that much as far as being able to analyze your swing, analyze pitches, analyze releases, and things of that nature. But it's interesting to see how this whole thing works and how they're going to be able to adjust that, because it's very important. I know people talk a lot about with JD Martinez, it being very important to him as far as in-game adjustments, which is huge for hitters, huge for pitchers too, but hitters, going up there 3-4 times, especially at the top of the lineup, and expecting to adjust against certain pitchers or just adjust your own swing and see what you might be doing wrong mid-game is huge for people. And to see that they're going to be able to do some type of technology, be able to blur out the catcher's signs so that these guys can use this and analyze and make some in-game adjustments rather than just trying to do it from memory, I think it will be helpful. And I think it's, could hackers come in and unblur the signs? Probably. But I'm sure it's going to be, Major League Baseball run. It probably won't be Red Sox equipment. It'll probably be Major League Baseball equipment. So they're overwatching the whole thing. But as we say always, the Cheers will find another way to cheat. Cheating will be in the game of baseball forever. Don't expect it to not be. This is not going to solve all the issues. Technology is too powerful. And I'm sure there will be cheating continuously throughout baseball. But I like to see some changes are being made and some adjustments are being made by Major League Baseball to try to allow teams to use their technology, but also hopefully in a fair way where everyone can be on the same as equal of a playing field as possible. The last piece that I want to hit today has nothing to do with the baseball world, more on the personal end. News broke this morning that one of my favorite artists of all time, Bruce Springsteen, got a DWI back in November, I think it was, on a local beach here down in New Jersey. I guess he was drinking and driving or something. I don't really know exactly the details of what was going on, but apparently it's federal land, it's not state, so he's going to have to go to a hearing in Newark here in New Jersey. So listen, they get the best of us. Drinking and driving is always been a part of our society, and that was one of the things I loved about moving to Hoboken. Was because it's always tempting, as much as you may not want it to be. Sometimes it's tempting to drink and drive. I think everyone who's ever drank has been in that situation where you feel like you're fine. You're not really sure if you should, but you really want to sleep at your own bed. You don't want to have to sleep at a hotel or on your buddy's couch. There's always that rationalization that makes you feel like you could do it. And in reality, the only thing that's really going to make you safe is to not drink for an extended period of time before you get behind the wheel of a car. But from my understanding, it was just he got caught, but he didn't, no injuries or anything like that. But it's they get you, they'll get you. So they even got Bruce. So hopefully, Bruce is fine. I'm curious though that they released this after the Super Bowl, where he apparently was I didn't watch all the commercials, and apparently he was endorsing Jeep. So I'm curious why that all happened. A lot of people get hit with DWIs. It comes out, the mugshot comes out like the next day. This took 2.5 months, and curiously was released right after the Super Bowl when he was in a Super Bowl ad. So I'm intrigued why it took so long. But I guess if no injuries happened, and he was fine, nothing was really happening. Maybe they just gave him the benefit of the doubt and let him run with it for a couple months. But anywho, guys, I hope you have a fantastic weekend. We should have a guest this coming Monday. It will be President's Day, but we should have a guest coming up this Monday. It's a pain in the ass to try to get in guests sometimes, guys. I was on a roll there for like a month and a half where I was just rattling off guests left and right. And now we've hit some hiccups in the row where guys get busy, last minute, things and all over the place. So we should have a guest this Monday. Actually, the last thing I want to mention before I let you go, I'm not letting you get to your weekend yet, is I had one of the more exciting follows on Twitter this past, it was yesterday. So today I'm recording on Wednesday. It was on Tuesday. I put a tweet out. I'm assuming it's this tweet, but I put a tweet out. Did okay. I was talking about David Ortiz's speech at Fenway after the Boston bombing. And I woke up and I look at my analytics, because a lot of times when you get sponsorships and things like that, you gotta watch your analytics and make sure you're following them and be able to pitch that to companies. And part of the Twitter analytics is they tell you your best follow from that month. And so now we're only 10 days into February. So a lot of times, you don't have, someone who follows you. You get like maybe a couple hundred followers a month, one or two, might be okay, but you don't really know them. It updated on Tuesday, and it was Frank Thomas, the Big Hurt, first ballot Hall of Famer, my favorite player growing up. And I have no idea why he did it, but you bet your ass I will be in that gentleman's DMs and trying to make sure that he will grace us with his presence on this podcast. So fingers crossed that happens. It would be a phenomenal guest. I can't imagine having him on, as I've looked up to that guy since I was a kid. So, but that's my little humble brag there to leave you for this weekend. I hope you guys have a great weekend, a safe weekend. And until next time, guys, I'll see you at the bar. Thank you so much for listening to the Sorry We're Closed podcast. Go subscribe to our email chain over at thepatlight.com and follow us on all social media. Until next time, guys, I'll see you at the bar.
Sorry, we're closed.